While the earth can very well survive without us, we cannot survive without our mother earth. Right before us are the vivid symptoms of ecological degradation. Our air is polluted, our water is polluted, and even soil is polluted. The first one hampers our breathing mechanism, and the other two our feeding pathways. Our ecosystem health is at risk, and at far greater risk is human health. And combined with that is the impact of continuously rising temperature, greenhouse effect, ozone layer depletion, so on and so forth. There are some moot questions right before us. Why it is that climate change is still a problem today despite decades of debates, discussions, deliberations, conferences, negotiations and presentations? Can we look at climate change and environmental pollution in isolation, or are they interconnected? Is temperature rise an environmental disease or a global symptom of a multi-organ failure of the entire Earth processes? Is there a parallel between integrated electronic circuit and ecosystem functioning? Shall our environmental impact assessment exercises be better based on bioindicators which can appropriately help us in quantifying our ecosystem health? Is there a very strong need today for looking into all our environmental standards, policies, procedures, and guidelines? How much and how many more alterations shall we bring about in our land use, food waves, food chains, and biogeochemical cycle? And are we really reaching the climax of carrying capacity in all the ecological, in terms of all ecological processes and ecosystem health? Like Kalidas, are we cutting the same branch of the tree on which we are standing and depending? These and several other associated issues demand our immediate attention, and there is a strong need for introspection. We have technologies, we have well qualified professionals, scientists, engineers, managers, so on and so forth. Why it is that we do not still have solutions to many of our environmental pollution problems? While willingness to find solutions is there, most probably the required amount of money is also there. Then is it a space and time mismatch problem? We do not have water when we are thirsty, and we have surplus of water when it is not needed, for instance, in the form of floods. What needs to be done? What needs to be done is to put the right information and right technology with the right money at the right place and at the right time. And if we cannot do it, the right solutions will keep on eluding us. The simplest and the best example is that of the running train. Look at its different components and compartments. Look at the way they are connected with each other. Even a small error can cause derailment. And then look at the fish plates, railway tracks, so on and so forth. And then finally look at our ecosystem and the perpetual train that's our Earth system. Let us try to locate its different components and compartments. In the meanwhile, we have been successful in dislocating many of its components and compartments already. The best example of gross ecological mismanagement is our land use planning and an equally misplaced management of food waves, food chains, and biogeochemical cycling. This refers to our lifestyle changes and its strong dependence on land use, food waves, food chains, and biogeochemical cycling. Doing all these is a daunting task. It requires not the resources, but the willpower to understand the ecological truth, which is very close to spiritual truth. And this can come about only through right kind of education. We have universities, institutions giving degrees, diplomas, and certificates, but rarely education. This needs to be changed, and it must be changed much before it's too late, and maybe it's already too late. How many of us are really bothered to find the right definition of development? And if we cannot define development appropriately in terms of tangible quantifiable, measurable scientific and engineering parameters, how can we find technological solutions for them? Is development a process of perpetual conversion of ecology into economy? Does development mean and demand that we go on converting our trees and forests into cash and money? These and several other associated issues demand our immediate attention, and we must pay attention to continuously rising temperature and all our preoccupations that concern us in everyday life. More often than not, climate narrative is framed in such a way which excludes rather than including most of the people. Climate and environment are two most important global issues these days, not only because our livelihood, but literally life of every citizen is dependent on the amount of oxygen which is being generated by every inch of vegetation. You remove a tree and it results in oxygen depletion. And oxygen depletion is no longer a local problem. It has assumed global dimensions, and it affects everyone equally, no matter how rich or poor we are. Ozone layer depletion is no longer a problem as important and significant as oxygen depletion is. Sounds surprising, but truth is oftentimes more surprising than falsehood, and we cannot escape it. The solution lies not in one nation trying to impose its will on others. On the other hand, it lies in the intensity and persistence of cooperation, not yet seen amongst nations. And cooperation must override competition. Thank you very much.